Hi, I'm Tom from Tom Cycle Recycling, and today we're going to talk about overhauling or rebuilding a front brake master cylinder. This particular master cylinder came off of a 1983 CB1100F, but it's very similar to many others that are out there, so follow closely and you'll see that the procedure is similar with the others. All I actually need is an inexpensive pick that I picked up at one of the local wholesale tool companies. If you look at the end here, you'll see the piston sticking out the bore, and there's this rubber boot. So the first thing you need to do is get this boot off. So basically just grab onto it, tear it out. You don't have to worry about damaging the piston or the boot because they're all going to be replaced. The only thing holding this entire mechanism in place now is a circlip. In some cases, this will be rusty and it could be deteriorating, so you want to hit it with some penetrant and let it soak a little bit first, because if those little ends where the holes are break off, you could have a problem. All right, so what I'm doing is taking this pick and grabbing onto one end of the circlip, and you want to pry in towards the piston and up at the same time. And it helps if you press on the piston so that you take a little pressure off that clip. There it is. It came right out, no problem. So now what you need to do is take a good quality brake cleaner and flush out all the old brake fluid, blow it out with compressed air. You want to do the same inside the reservoir, clean that out with brake fluid. If you're planning to refinish your master cylinder, this is the time to do it. You also want to inspect the bore and see what kind of shape that's in. Sometimes you'll get a little corrosion on the very end. Usually deeper down it's okay. Sometimes there's crud in the end as well. And that's where the brake fluid and compressed air will help clean it out. If you have corrosion on the end here, you can take a Dremel tool and a small polishing buffer with some compound and just lightly go around in here. Shine it up, get that corrosion out of there, and it's usually good to go. Okay, we've got our master cylinder cleaned up, refinished. It's ready to rebuild. You don't need an awful lot to do it. You need a rebuild kit, obviously, and that's going to come with a new circlip, new piston, new boot, new spring, etc. The other tools you need are a small screwdriver. Here's where a set of snap ring pliers will come in handy. And what I've got here is called a pin vise. And this is for holding very small drill bits. And I'm going to show you right now why you need this. So inside the reservoir, you're going to see two holes. This large one is what allows brake fluid to go from the reservoir down into the bore and get pushed out through the lines. There's also this other small hole, very, very tiny hole. Different names for it. Some people call it a return hole, some people call it a relief hole. It's very critical that that's kept clear. And what happens over time is brake fluid will gunk up that hole and block it. And the end result is it doesn't allow fluid relief when you let go of the lever, and your brakes will actually drag. So before you even go and rebuild the thing, you want to take the pin vise with the number 80 drill bit and just go into the hole and just rotate it and basically ream it. If you don't have one of these, you can do it with a fine steel guitar string, and I've used those many times with a pair of needle nose pliers, but this is definitely very handy and inexpensive. So now we come around to the front, take a Q-tip and soak it with some brake fluid and just lubricate the inside of the bore. And now you want to do the same with the rubber components that are going to be inside. First, this cup goes on the end of the spring, and you want to get some brake fluid on this because this is going to be a pretty tight fit in that bore. Start to get it going. You don't have to push it very far yet. Then you want to take the piston, and it's already got the rubber seal on it. Going to get it seated right over that cap or that cup, push down. So now that it's somewhat in place, you've got to lock it in place. So I take the small screwdriver just to kind of hold it there for a minute. Flip the snap ring over. Get your pliers on it so that you can squeeze it. And then at the same time you want to push down to get it roughly into place. You heard that little click. And then you just take the screwdriver, push along the edges, and once it's in, you'll know it. You'll hear a snap. And there it is. It's locked in place. And you know it's working, right, if you press on the piston and you get nice even movement, nice smooth travel. It springs right back. You'll see a groove cut around the end of the piston there. You just want to make the lip on this rubber boot fit over that. And then make sure down below it's seated. I just take the screwdriver and just kind of gently go around, push on the lip. Just don't push too hard, you don't want to tear the rubber. And generally if you test it a few times, you'll know when it's seated and you're good to go.